The race to the 2027 general elections is gathering pace. With just 2 years until the nation heads to the polls, there's a growing tempo of political alignment and realignment. As we witness the increasing frequency of alliances and cross-party collaborations, the question remains, what will these realignments mean for the future of Nigerian politics? Will they bring about the much-needed change that voters are yearning for? Or will they merely serve as power play among the political elite? Well, joining us now for answers to these questions is the former governor of Abia State, Dr. Okezie Ikpeazu. Very good to see you, sir.
Yes, please, my dear.
Thank you so much for being on Newsnight.
Thank you.
I mean, I would like to start by getting your reaction to what the former governor of Kaduna said a moment ago here on the Rise News, saying he doesn't even know if he will be in APC in 2027. When you hear an El-Rufai say that, you see the gale of defections happening. What's your reaction to that? Are you surprised to hear El-Rufai say, I might not be in the APC in 2027?
Well, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know how to portion weight on his comments, whether, but the truth of the matter, as spoken by him, is that he is not happy. And then he went ahead to elaborate a few things, including indicators that will determine what he will do in 2027. So it's safe to say that he is halfway gone, if not 75% gone.
Who's halfway gone now? You're talking about the current administration?
No.
The El-Rufai himself. Yeah. Now, I'm even concerned, and I wonder how concerned you are. I mean, having been governor and all of that, you've been in politics in this country. Barely 2 years into the life of this current administration, we're already talking about 2027, and alignments and realignments, are happening already. Aren't you concerned that this really is a distraction from governance itself? Is it not too early to be talking about 2027?
You are right. I sincerely think it's a bit too early, but the beauty of politics is that it's in a state of fluid, or flux,
right,
all the time. Always the dynamics change quickly. And politicians have to be politicians, and they must do the things they do. But I'm not bothered about alignments and realignments and defections, because all this, including the litigations you see here and there, they will enrich the jurisprudence of internal democracy at the long run, because it must end either way. And again, political characters are mercurial. They are mercurial, and it's a game where somebody says something, but he may mean an entirely different thing. And my worry is that most politicians also dwell on half-truths, and when they say something and then you take it beyond the superficial meaning, you may be running a big risk. So I don't have a problem, but I think that there is a little bit of distraction, speaking from the perspective of the government in power. Right. We seem to have forgotten the depth of the rut that we found ourselves. And then climbing out of that rut is not going to happen by the touch of a button. It will entail quite a lot from the media space, from the citizens, from the politicians, because my greatest problem, sincerely speaking, is our public expectation framework. We don't even seem to ask the right questions. We don't seem to, we want quick fixes.
Who's responsible for that? Is it not the politicians themselves who don't want the people, the electorate, to be educated enough in a way that they can actually ask or interrogate, correctly?
No, the politician, on the average, a selfish politician won't want you to ask him any question at all. So if you don't ask me, if my teacher, who is examining me, fails to pose difficult questions, what do? I score straight A's.
Your Excellency, I'm glad that you brought up that point. You are one who understands alignment and realignments very well. The build up to the last election, you were a key figure in one of those alignments yourself with the G5 governors. A move many believe significantly weakened your party, the People's Democratic Party, and has lasting consequences that it has not recovered from. So do you accept responsibility that alignment, was to the detriment of your party and on the larger scale, the democratic landscape of the country, with the weakening of opposition parties in the country, including the PDP?
No. No, because here again, our problem is because we don't speak to ideology and principles. I had Governor El-Rufai say just a few minutes ago that they agreed that the presidential candidate for their party was going to come from the South. That is principle. In our party, we have zoning enshrined in our constitution, and we said the presidential candidate will come from the South. So that's principle. And for me, it's everything. It's everything.
So what's principle over the party?
What is party without principle? What is party without ideology?
Yeah, but that ideology is what a lot of observers say is
because right now
is lacking in our political.
Exactly. Right now, my decision about who gets the presidential ticket of my party would be who has the best ideology.
I didn't think Atiku Abubakar had the best ideology in the 2023 elections.
Well, but principle, zero. Because at that time, the presidential candidate of my party had gone to the north. The party chairman of my party had gone to the north. And our argument was, since we couldn't get the presidential candidate, which was ordinarily a no-brainer, can we have the party chairman so that we can have something to campaign with in the South?
And you didn't get that. Now let's.
So what happened actually was concomitant upon our error, failure to adhere to our principles and our ideology.
It looks like that error is about to play out again. If you look back on the political landscape presently, there seems to be no opposition in Nigeria right now, currently, whether from your party, the People's Democratic Party, or any other party for that matter. And people are saying, at least observers, analysts are saying, this will cost, or is costing Nigeria a lot. And going into 2027, the chances of, wresting power from the current administration are very slim.
Oh, well, I think that the preoccupation of the opposition family, if there's anything like that, both from my party and all those who are not happy, should be to begin to market alternative ideologies to what is happening. And not just to say it has to go to the north or to the west or to the south or whatever. That is okay, but what are the alternatives to policies around to increase oil production, to stabilize the naira against the dollar, to our insecurity problems? What about the critical issue of mending fences and social mobilization? What has happened? What has created this big cleavage between north and south? Are the elites exploiting it to their advantage and to the detriment of the people?
What do you think?
What about religion? And all so these things that are taking the center stage shouldn't be the issue. Nigerians are waiting for alternative ideas.
Are you saying it's time for Nigeria to jettison the idea of rotational presidency?
No.
Okay.
No. Because we have not done sufficient social mobilization to trust one another. I call myself a typical Nigerian. At 16, I went to Maiduguri to take a degree in biochemistry, and I was there till I took a master's and took a PhD in Calabar and all of this. So I've been around Nigeria. I've lived in Lagos. So I know and I understand the sentiments and the nuances around our people. And I think we have a beautiful rainbow. We have a beautiful country. And if we harness our whatever, but I see that the more a few people try to trust each other, we see people who gain undue advantage by orchestrating the religious card or the ethnic card and all of that. And I'm saying that for us to have a credible opposition, the opposition family must begin to think about, they should have a think tank that is thinking about alternative ideas to what is happening.
So, because there are concerns, Your Excellency, there are concerns that Nigeria is sliding into a one-party state. And moments ago, when you referred to your party and opposition, you said if there's anything like that, it didn't sound like you're optimistic, like the opposition parties in Nigeria can thrive or are thriving or can survive. There has even been allegations by Atiku Abubakar, former vice president, just 3 weeks ago, that the ruling party is inducing opposition parties to kill them off the playing field. I think he mentioned the sum of 500 million naira being given to leaders of opposition parties so that they are not viable. So when you talk about Nigeria looking for alternative, where would the alternative come from when the opposition parties are not thriving?
No. When I refer to, I said Nigerians are expecting. So the bulwark of the problem is on the table of the opposition family, the PDP and other parties that are against the current government in power. You know, so you can't, nobody will, the sitting president can't do for you what will enable you gain strength and remove him. He will do what he has to do. So you have to do what you have to do. If my party says I'm the Jonah in the boat, and unless I take the back seat, that things won't work, I'll take the back seat because I want this thing to work. But that is the least of the problem. The major problem is, do we have a think tank that is churning out alternative ideas for education, free health, like I said, in economic development generally, infrastructure? Do we have?
You're a member of the PDP. Do you have?
Yeah, exactly.
No, so
yeah.
I'm speaking first like a Nigerian. No, back to the party. I don't hold any office in the party, and as a loyal party man, I only do what I'm asked to do.
But does the G5 that you belonged to, does it still exist? Is it still on ground in a way that you can actually use that platform to influence anything?
The G5 thing is not a social club. It's an aggregation of like minds. So the thinking that there should be equity and justice in Nigeria cannot die. In that sense, the G5 paradigm can't die. Because when it is the turn of the North tomorrow, and you want to jettison that zoning thing because it is the North, another G5, maybe in form of G35, G40, whatever it's called, will rear its head.
Now that
so whenever you see people saying there is an oppression, there is injustice, you know, so you are speaking about what G5 believes.
Is that what is still happening in your party? Why is the issue in the PDP so intractable? What are you doing about it? You say you don't hold any position, but as a loyal party man that you have described yourself, how do you see the problems in your party? What is causing the problems in PDP?
What is causing the problem in PDP is that, you know, see, in every conflict, when you want to resolve, if the problem is not spoken about and nobody talks about it, nobody will resolve it. If I have a problem, a beef with you, and the bishop comes, not until I tell the bishop what you have done to me, or not until you tell the bishop what I have done to you, the bishop will just come, offer prayer, and go, and the problem will remain. So some people are hell-bent on, because for me, sincerely speaking, if I'm asked to say, and I take the liberty of saying this publicly, my view will be that in 2027, PDP has to look for a presidential candidate from the South. Right. So, for those who would want a presidential candidate from the North, there's going to be a conflict. They have to find a way to convince me that the South should not take their turn.
It's interesting you say that, because there seems to be growing, sentiments around the idea that come 2027, power should go to the north because of dissatisfaction with the governance, impact or results that, they're getting under this current administration. What do you say to that?
I don't even think that this conversation this evening is about assessing the government in power.
It's not assessing, but there are growing sentiments in the north that it should go back to the north.
I'm careful about that, because I also watched this television station when Rewane came several hours ago, and a chartered economist, finance expert, and he was saying things that were happening. I'm saying that no government is completely useless. So if you want to appeal to somebody like me, an intellectual like me, you must tell me. I remember the case of my classmate in the secondary school, and we were asked a simple question: what is the economic importance of honeybee? And the boy just wrote, the honeybee is useless because it stings. But he did not think about pollination. Because without honeybee in the first place, there won't be flowers, there won't be food.
In other words?
So what I'm saying is that there must be something that this government is doing. Either they are not doing it correctly, or the thing is not yielding the results we desire. So what is the alternative? I give you an example. All the presidential candidates, I looked at their manifesto in 2023. And they all said, we were going to remove oil subsidy. So when oil subsidy was removed and we started suffering in this country, fuel prices jacked up, inflation, double digits, all kinds of things. Everybody ran under the cupboard, including those who came and who were very, very loud about removal of oil subsidy. So that is pedestrian. Right. What's wrong in saying, oh yes, we thought it was like this, but now this is what we need to do.
Okay.
So I'm saying that we need more creative.
All right. I just want to ask, before we let you go, very quickly, Dr. Ikpeazu, with all of these alignments and realignments, do you think the way forward for the opposition parties is a coalition against the governing APC in 2027?
No.
You think they don't stand a chance against Tinubu in 2027?
I say so because there are many dynamics about the coalition. And making that happen in 2026 and getting ready for an election in 2027 is a difficult sell.
We've seen it happen before, and from the APC. But thank you so much.
No. The dynamics are not the same.
Okay,
5 governors moved.
Great.
There was a Buhari figure, and there was also a Tinubu figure.
And there was a G5.
There was a G5. Are you going to regret all of those?
Dr. Okezie, the former governor of Abia State, thank you so much for being on the news tonight.
Yeah,